If you've ever been in a relationship, I'm sure this kind of scenario has popped up in the relationship. Oh, he's just a friend, don't worry about him. He's nothing to worry about. We've been friends for ages. He's the guy that, she tells you not to worry about. And unfortunately, as much as that has been subject to my life with relationships, unfortunately, it's now becoming club football as well, because I'm seeing a lot of similarities in that with Klopp. Klopp is the guy she tells you not to worry about. Klopp is the guy that Bowen says, oh, don't worry, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. And then boom, a couple months later, he's at the front door, he's wearing the Liverpool shirt. It's treachery. It's getting a little bit worrying, to be honest. And, it's all a bit fun and games, but there is some serious legs in this, to be honest. There is some serious legs. I'm just recording this off the back of the Man United result. Jarrod Bowen getting another goal in the Premier League, joint with Mo Salah, 11 goals in the Premier League. Only Erling Haaland has scored more, which, let's be honest, is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of people look at how Jarrod Bowen plays football, look at the quality he brings, and they don't believe that he is that sort of player that can bag you 10 to 20 goals a season. But he's proven everybody wrong. He really is. Joint with Mo Salah, who's supposed to be the best winger in the Premier League. Yes, he's played one game more, but listen, you can't get those sorts of numbers if you're not an absolutely quality player, especially when you think about the chances that Liverpool can create. Players like Trent, you've got that beautiful midfield of McAllister, Szoboszlai. They have all sorts of assets, and West Ham probably not doing as well as them this season. I mean, Liverpool have in a sense. I just want to address a couple of comments that Klopp made. If you look at just prior to the game that we played on, I believe it was Thursday, Klopp said, he is my favourite player besides all my players, I have to say. It's great what he's doing. Apart from my boys, Jarrod Bowen is one of my favourite players. So, he's gone out and he said that he likes Jarrod Bowen. And then Mikel Antonio has come out and said, if he wants, he can bring the money. Who's he going to replace? Obviously, he plays on the right. Are you hinting at something here? Are you letting Salah go? Jurgen Klopp said before the game that Jarrod Bowen is his favourite player in the league, other than his own players. I think he's trying to lay those seeds, man. He wants Jarrod. So it's pretty obvious that Jurgen Klopp wants Jarrod Bowen. I think it's pretty obvious. And Antonio talks about him hinting that maybe Salah will be leaving. There was a very last-minute deal in the summer transfer window to try and get Mohamed Salah to come to the Saudi Arabian League. Obviously, it fell through because I'm not even sure if a formal bid was actually made, but there was definitely strong rumours that they were going to try and lure him over to the Saudi League. Now, come January, if a big offer comes in for Mo Salah, that might be too difficult to turn down. I mean, I think he's at 31, 32 years of age. Listen, if you're getting like 200 million, 150 million, which is kind of the figures that we were being linked with, I don't see how Liverpool can turn that down. I think that's a figure that you simply cannot turn down. So then you say, okay, well, we sell him in January. Who are we picking up to replace him? For me, at the moment, Jarrod Bowen is the absolute prime candidate. Yes, he's got a big, long contract at West Ham, but let's be honest, that honestly means nothing. The way contracts really work is, teams put contracts in place so that when a team approaches your player, you can say one of two things. You can say, okay, well, he's on a long contract, so you're going to have to pay us a lot of money. You're going to have to pay out some of his contract. We thought we were going to have another 7 years. We've tied up the money for it. We paid this, signing bonus. You're going to have to pay us restitution for that. You're going to have to give some compensation for the fact we just signed him for 7 years. Or B, they'll say, do you know what? We don't want to sell him. And if the player wants to leave, good luck getting him because he's tied down with us for 7 years. So, off your trot. That is why clubs do these long-term contracts. Obviously, it shows as well the player's mindset. If you're willing to sign a contract of that length, then, clearly you're in the headspace of you want to be there. You're happy to be there. But really, we do it just to ensure that no matter what happens, if a player comes in, a club comes in from or not, we're going to be getting a big payment because of it. Or it just ensures that, he's not going to be leaving if we don't want him to leave. So if Liverpool came in and offered crazy money, and I think crazy money for Jarrod Bowen would probably be about 70 million. I think if you offer 70 million for, I mean, for me, he's priceless in that West Ham squad. But I think if you get offered 50 to 60 million for Jarrod Bowen, I think that's a very, very fair deal. I mean, I don't think many clubs would turn that down if they had Jarrod Bowen in their squad. Obviously, he's priceless to me. And I'm just thinking on terms of his quality, what he can produce, but the amount of goals he brings in a season, maybe 50 is a bit too generous. But for me, I think 50 million to 60 million is kind of what you're looking at for Jarrod Bowen when you look at quotes across other Premier League teams and the age he's at and the form he's in regardless. I think if they offer like 70, 80 million, that's pretty impossible for us to turn down. But the thing that worries me as well is you've got Guardiola whispering in Lucas Paqueta's ear. You've got Klopp basically twerking for Jarrod Bowen. We've already had a situation where behind the scenes, we've had a manager come to a player and basically poach them. I mean, Declan Rice is well known now that whilst playing for us and under contract with us, he was having chats with Arteta. I think he even went to his house and had some private meetings. I mean, you can say what you want about that. I don't really think it's that bad. I think, yes, he's at contract at West Ham, but if he knows he wants to move there, he needs to assess his options. I don't think there's anything wrong with him going to Arteta and saying, okay, look, I'm happy at West Ham, but what can you give me at Arsenal? You know, what can you do for me? I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. I don't see it as treachery or snake. I don't see it that way. But, you know, from a West Ham perspective, we can't be allowing these little meetings to be taking place. You know, if we wanted to keep Declan Rice, then we need to be more in the loop, and we need to be like, you know, why am I hearing reports that you've gone to Mikel Arteta's house? You know, what am I not getting here? What am I not hearing? And I think the same can be said. You know, we've got to keep an eye on this situation with Klopp and Bowen, because if Klopp gets in Bowen's ear and says, look, you'd be on, you know, 250k a week here, you'd be the new star man because, you know, because Mo Salah's left, you know, you're going to be loved up here. I'm a massive fan of you. You know, we've got a massive plan in place. We're going to get Champions League next year. I mean, you know, that's a massive lure for a player like Jarrod Bowen, who, yes, he signed a 7-year contract with West Ham, but that doesn't actually mean anything. He can turn around tomorrow and say, Liverpool come in for me, Real Madrid are coming for me, Barcelona coming for me. I want to leave. And yeah, there's nothing he can do about it if we say no, but, you know, there's nothing we can do about stopping him from talking to other clubs and whatever. So I think we seriously need to put a stop to this. We need to make sure that we sit down with Jarrod and say, look, I know Klopp's been saying all this stuff, but you're part of our project. You know, I mean, we've just signed a 7-year deal with him, so there's not really a lot we can do. But I just think we need to be a little bit stricter when it comes to players. I mean, we basically did nothing to avoid Arteta being in Declan Rice's ear for the whole summer. And then, you know, he obviously signs for them. I don't want a similar situation where Klopp's in Bowen's ear, we're not doing anything about it, and then all of a sudden in January, because if we lose Jarrod Bowen in January, it's going to be detrimental for us. Even if we get 70 million, I can't think of a right winger that we could use to replace Jarrod Bowen. I honestly can't. I can't think of a winger that will emulate what Jarrod Bowen does at West Ham. I can't. I'm drawing a blank. I genuinely can't think of a single winger that can emulate what Jarrod Bowen does in that West Ham team. The sort of player that's an inside forward. I mean, that's a rare player in itself. I mean, it's a kind of a new role in the new era of football. And I think the only real inside forwards you can talk about in the Premier League at the moment is Mo Salah and Jarrod Bowen, and in turn, Mohamed Kudus. So other than that, I can't really think of many inside forwards that clubs have. I mean, I would have loved Cole Palmer if he was still at City, but Chelsea won't let him go. There's no point in letting him go. There's no way they would let him go. Honestly, I can't think of a single one. I can't think of a single player that could replace Jarrod Bowen. So I think we really, really need to make sure that we're on this. You know, we don't have a similar situation. We know Pep's probably been in Lucas Paqueta's ear. He might leave in January or summer. We already know what happened with Arteta and Rice. We cannot allow a similar situation to happen with Jarrod Bowen. Hopefully, of course, he recognises the value we put on him and he decides not to go for it. But look, it's the guy she tells you not to worry about. It's always the guy she tells you not to worry about. And I worry that Jurgen Klopp is that guy.